Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. So as you can see in today's video, I will do a first impressions on a fragrance from the house of Montale. This fragrance got a lot of popularity a few years ago on YouTube, and this was a recent blind buy for me. I think I have this fragrance in my collection for what? Maybe a week? Not even, I think. So yes, the fragrance is called Sensual Instinct. Here is the fragrance. Of course, you have the popular black Montale pouch. And here is how the actual fragrance looks like. Maybe I will do a close-up so you can see it better. Now guys, this was a blind buy for me. Now usually when I blind buy fragrances, I do a lot of research before. And I did actually do a lot of research for this fragrance as well. I read reviews on Fragrantica, I watched reviews here on YouTube, and still with all those reviews in mind, I had no idea what to expect from this fragrance, especially since the reviews on Fragrantica, or let's just say, were like a little bit polar opposites one to the other. If you were to look this one up on Fragrantica, there it has listed coffee, it has listed rose, and it has listed some oak, mossy, ambery, woody nuances, if I'm not mistaken. Now, a lot of people compare it with Baccarat Rouge 540, some people compare it to Intense Cafe by Montale. Now, honestly guys, to me it's different to both. This is a fragrance that first of all took me by complete surprise. I was not expecting it to smell the way it does, and that's not necessarily in the best way possible. It's not a love for me, it's a fragrance that let's just say, I am still testing it, you know, to see how I feel about it. I want to actually let this one sit for a while and see if anything changes about it or not. Honestly guys, like I said, I was a little bit shocked when I smelled this fragrance. To me, this has no coffee, this has no praline, and this has almost like... Some people said that this is a gourmand fragrance. To me, it's not a gourmand fragrance. To me, this is a very weird, even more abstract fragrance. Let's say perhaps a little bit more artistic. So please, if you are watching this video and you are interested in trying out this fragrance, please don't do what I did and blind buy it. Get a sample. Believe me, get a sample, because I feel like this fragrance is either a love or hate. So don't waste your money on a fragrance that you might end up hating. Now guys, Sensual Instinct. Let me actually spray it on my skin. As always, the fragrance itself is very oily. Performance is never an issue with Montale fragrances, but I will touch more about the performance a bit later. Now let's talk about the scent. Yeah, now first of all, this smells way better in the air than it smells when you get your nose very close to the skin. In the air, guys, yes, I do get why some people compare it with Baccarat Rouge 540, but to me, this is a fragrance on its own. I mean, even though let's just say it shares some similarities, I don't think this is a fragrance that you should get as the dupe of that one. Because in that case, you will most likely be disappointed. If you are looking for a dupe for Baccarat Rouge, then feel free to check out any of these fragrances. I have a video where I touch more about each and every one of these. So yes, now back to Sensual Instinct. Guys, this fragrance smells so sour. It smells sour. Like, to me it smells like if you've been a kid, you know those candies that are like sweet, but they have like a coating, like a powdered coating around them, and when you put them in your mouth and that powder starts to melt into your mouth, it makes your mouth go like this, like, you know, it makes your mouth go like this, you know. Or it's the same effect when you bite from a lemon. Imagine you're biting from a lemon and you get all that soury, acidic vibe. You have it here in the opening on steroids, honestly. The first few times I've smelled it, it was the only thing that I could smell. Luckily, the sourness aspect doesn't last all throughout the fragrance. I would say after a few hours it moves into the background until you start to lose it completely by the dry down. But still guys, the opening is the opening, at least for me, was very shocking. Now, to me, in the opening, I can smell citruses. I can smell some dark fruits. I'm not gonna basically, guys, I will let you know what I smell from the fragrance, not necessarily what this has listed, okay? So to me, in the opening, this one smells like, imagine you have like bergamot, lime, and lemon. You squeeze them, so you have not the refreshing aspect, but you have the acidity of the citruses. Then you have the sourness. You have the sour quality of the citruses mixed with some dark fruits and an artificial rose accord. Mix all these, put it in a candy format, like those sugary candies, you know, coat it with something very acidic and sour on the outside, and this is how the opening smells to my nose. It's very shocking. I mean, for me at least, it was very shocking. I was definitely not expecting to smell something like this. The rose, it's not similar to the rose in Intense Cafe at all, guys. To me, first of all, this fragrance to me is completely different to Intense Cafe, to Arabians, Tonka, to Instant Crush, to Baccarat Rouge 540. To me, these fragrances are very different. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a similar vibe. I feel like that vibe you get it more in the air and after a few hours. If you smell it on your skin, right when you apply it, you will get the sour quality, which is on steroids here. Like, I don't know, if you've tried this fragrance, I would absolutely appreciate if you could let me know what you actually think about this fragrance. Do you get the sour vibe as well, or is it just me? Imagine, like I've said, you get the citruses, you get the acidity of the citruses, you get the sourness of some citruses, you put there some like artificial dark fruity flavor, you put there some like artificial rose flavor, you mix them all together and you have a candy. Like a sugary candy, not like a gummy bear, like a candy, like a proper sugary hard candy. And it's just like that, you know? Imagine like you put that candy in your mouth and you get all the like, you know, that sensation. Personally, I don't like that sensation at all. It like it makes me have shivers down my spine, you know. And also I was not expecting the citrusy aspect to be that strong. Guys, I was expecting, in all honesty, I was expecting something that smells like Baccarat Rouge mixed with Intense Cafe. Forget about this, at least to my nose, forget about this. And then in the background you have that like crystallized, sugary, but not sweet, more like the texture of a crystallized sugar. Transparent, oak, mossy, woody nuance. Personally, I get no praline. I do get the rose, like I've told you. At least to me, the rose is not similar to the rose used in Intense Cafe. Now, the very strong, sharp, and bothering, at least to me, soury vibe lasts for about 20 minutes until it starts to like slowly tone down. But for the first 20 minutes, you will get this one a lot. And I feel like the opening, a lot of people might find it very challenging. Don't get me wrong, I do like it, but it's one of those fragrances that, how to say, like I definitely have to be in the mood for. I don't know exactly what that mood is, but I have to be in the mood for this because it's very different to the kind of fragrances I usually reach for. If you love gourmands, I feel like you will have a struggle, like a little bit of a struggle with this fragrance. If you love heavy Middle Eastern, Oriental, opulent fragrances, but you do not like citruses, still, unless you like citruses in a very high dose, I feel like you will have a problem with this fragrance, especially in the opening. This is not one of those like warm, sugary, overly sweet candies that's like creamy, milky. No, this to me this is a very cold fragrance. It's quite metallic in a way here and there, slightly green as well. I mean, I feel like the green aspect could either be like because of the citruses used here, or maybe you have here a dash of patchouli, I don't know. But they're all like blended together. You don't get, how to say, like you don't get the realistic note in real life here. You get like artificial interpretations of the real note, you know? Like I said, guys, the best way to put it, you take citruses, you take a dark fruits, some dark fruits, I don't know, forest berries, you take an artificial rose flavor, you take again like some artificial candy flavor, you mix them all together and you make candies out of it, you know, and you sprinkle them with some like really sour and acidic powder. This is how it smells to me. You get the Baccarat Rouge similarities in the dry down, but only hints of it, guys. If you want something that's like similar to Baccarat Rouge, get Violet Bouquet, get Arabians Rouge, get, I don't know, Aristocrat for Her, get Red Temptation from Zara. Those are, let's just say, more spot on, inspired by Baccarat Rouge. So yes, these are my first thoughts on the fragrance. Definitely smells better in the air than it smells very close to the skin. Definitely smells better on clothes after a few hours than it smells on clothes right when you apply them. I feel like the magic with this fragrance is in the air for sure, is when someone walks past you. Now I have to tell you, right when I first smelled this fragrance, like right after I took it out of the packaging, I smelled it and I was like, what the hell did I just buy? And I was like, why do I keep blind buying fragrances? Now since then, I got to wear it a bit, I got to test it a bit more. I'm not as shocked by the fragrance. Now I actually do really enjoy the dry down. I feel like at least for me, the magic with this fragrance is the dry down. And also, like I've mentioned, the magic is to not smell it very close to the skin, because then at least I get the overly sour, overly acidic aspect. But yeah, the dry down is very addicting, guys. I have to say, I feel like if you were to get hooked on this fragrance, it would be because of the dry down, not because of the opening. Now, personally, I get no praline vibes out of this fragrance. Coffee, like if you take the smell of coffee in real life, if you take the smell of like rose, and if you take the smell of praline in real life, and you try to imagine a fragrance with this note, this is not the fragrance. Maybe it has some accords of coffee and praline, but I don't get them to my nose. To my nose, the citruses are much more pronounced. The soury aspect is much more pronounced. The cold, like crystallized rosy candy vibe is much more pronounced. The oak moss as well overpowers all the other notes. So yes, guys, those were my thoughts about this fragrance. Now, in terms of gender, to me this could be a perfect unisex fragrance. I don't feel it leans very feminine, at least to my nose. But keep in mind, usually citrusy fragrances, unless they're like overly sweet citruses, I tend to associate them more with masculine leaning fragrances. Maybe that's why I could totally see this fragrance on a man. In fact, I actually did a few sprays on my partner because I wanted to see if on his skin the soury vibe is still there. And yes, it's still there, even on him. This fragrance sticks on clothes, and after 3 days, if you put the same piece of clothing on you and like somehow by mistake, by accident, like few sprays dropped on that piece of clothing, you will smell this fragrance. So I feel like longevity for this fragrance is eternal. Projection, I don't feel like it's quite as heavy projecting as Arabian Tonka, for instance. Here I have Arabian Tonka, let me actually show it to you. Arabian Tonka is the kind of fragrance that, this is Arabian Tonka. This is the kind of fragrance that when you apply it, this is a room filler for sure. Like this is very projecting, this like projects off your body, you know, everyone around you can smell it. This is the sort of fragrance that fills up a room with just like few sprays, you don't need a lot. Now, as for Intense Cafe, I feel like this, again, it's not necessarily the most projecting fragrance, let's say. I actually feel like Rosie's Vanille projects a bit further compared to Intense Cafe, at least on my skin and from what I have noticed. But I don't know, guys, this is much more easy to enjoy. Like this is a much more safer blind buy in my opinion. Like there's absolutely no way you cannot appreciate a fragrance like this. Maybe only if you're a man and you find it too feminine leaning, you know, but if you're a woman, I do really think, unless you completely despise rose, I think you will love this fragrance. Now, personally, for me, this is a much more of an easier reach for me. Again, Arabian Tonka, it's much more of an easier reach. Sensual Instinct, I'm just starting to warm up to it, you know, so I will definitely update you in the future. I will let you know if anything changes, but until then, please guys, let me know what do you think about this fragrance. Do you enjoy it? What notes do you actually smell in this fragrance? Because I feel like with this fragrance it's very tricky. I feel like everybody will get something different from it. Please don't forget to like the video if you want to support my channel. This would mean a lot to me. And also please, like, if you've tried this fragrance, let me know what you think about it. I am more than curious to read your feedback on this scent because it's such a contrasting fragrance. Like the opening, it's almost like it puts me off a little bit. Then the dry down, I love it. Now, like I've said, I will let it sit for a while and see if the opening changes even the slightest bit. I would be happy, honestly. If not, I don't mind it, guys. Like I can still use it, you know, even with this like sourness. Like honestly, I got used to it, so it's not like a fail, you know. But it's not one of those fragrances that I'm like, oh my god, go out and buy it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram. I will leave my handle up there. If you want to tell me anything, please put it down in the comment section and I promise that I will get back to you. So yes, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye.